Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Have any of you kept your hands on, he was part of the Brogni fusion, Siegehulk. Today we're going to do a full guide on him because he is a monster, man. This guy does some serious damage. He has some very big multipliers. And speaking of very big, I mean, look at this dude. He takes up the full screen. He's massive.
I'm fat.
He has this ballista on his back. You can't even see it here, really. Zooming in, zooming out, can't really see it. Aesthetically, he is, I guess, pleasing? He's a monster. He's a monster. So that's Siegehulk.
This is the part where you say I'm not fat.
You're not fat.
So I waited a while before maxing him out, but I did see that his multipliers were pretty big, pretty decent. You can see those on the screen right now. So he's hitting pretty hard, even on his A1 over 3 multiplier, generally considered to be pretty good. We also have a decreased target turn meter by 15% if the target is under decreased speed or decreased defense debuff, which he has both in his kit, which makes him really nasty. Thrashing Fit, his A2, attacks all enemies, places an increased attack on himself first, though, for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, and then has a 100% chance of landing decreased defense. So an AoE decreased defense, good multipliers with the increased attack built in. What about increased crit damage? Well, we have that as well on his A3. Places an increased crit rate and increased crit damage on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks 1 enemy. I believe a 5.7. Correct me if I'm wrong. Multiplier on this ability, pretty nasty. Again, I'll put it on the screen for you guys. Also has a 100% chance of placing a big version of decreased speed on the target for 2 turns, again, all on a 3-turn cooldown. So we're going to have increased crit rate by 30% up 2 out of every 3 turns as well, so you can get by building him. I still ideally close to 100% or ideally 100% crit rate, because you do want to cover that 1 turn he doesn't have it, but it's a nice kind of, okay, well, 85, 90% crit rate, I can still get by, which is the case today with me. This isn't always the case with me. Aura, we have crit rate in Doom Tower battles by 24%, so another crit rate booster if you guys are lacking another aura for Doom Tower. Not the best, aura in the world, though. So for Masteries, man, this guy, like I said, he is a debuffer, decreased speed, single target, big multipliers, an AoE decreased defense. He's a debuffer, also a nuker. So I love when you can combine those 2 things into one champion. Talk about the downside in just a moment here, but first, Masteries, right? Picking up Helm Smasher on this dude, right? You can go, if you're primarily using him against bosses for decreased speed, for decreased defense, and that's it really. You can go with War Master, of course. I went Helm Smasher because whether it's in the arena as your debuffer, or whether it's against any Doom Tower wave, or any dungeon for that matter, I love having that Helm Smasher mastery. I tend to run a lot of champions with stun, so the Drakes. Sleep, Fear, True Fear, Freeze. I love champions like this, even Ninja with the Freeze I've been playing around with. I have him in a Relentless set right now. Let me know if you want to see an updated guide on Relentless Ninja. So I pick up opportunities as much as I can, even though he personally does not have these debuffs in his kit. But he almost always, we'll see him with Syl in today's video. Support tree, we went with the accuracy, and we went down to grab Master Hexer as our tier 5 option, and Evil Eye as well. So let's go ahead and jump into how I have him built in today's video. Again, we have him in Savage and Perception. Perception's obviously great for this champion, getting that extra accuracy plus the speed. Our debuffers, we want to build fast. They're going before our nukers, right? Especially in PvP in the arena, tag team arena. So because of that, we went with Perception. We want Perception on this champion, or speed as kind of the extra set if you decide to go with Savage. Now, if you don't decide to go to Savage, that's totally fine as well. You can build him with just offensive gear, crit rate, crit damage. The options are really endless in terms of what you want to get out of your Siegehulk. Because he does a lot of damage, because he has a lot of important debuffs and important buffs that he's placing on himself, you can even go Relentless if you guys have the gear. So, Siegehulk, the downside. Well, let's take a look at his total stats here really quickly, right? So speed, his base speed is not super slow, but it's no Stag Knight, right? Stag Knight, what is it? It's 107 base speed. So we have a little bit of a handicap there. So we're gonna have to really prioritize putting speed on this champion. I want over 200 speed on all my debuffers, just generally as a rule. And then again, very low defense, and his HP is pretty low too. 760 defense. What is he, an uncommon? I mean, it's tough, right? So defense percentage does not scale very well because of the not the multipliers, because of the percentage, right? So it's tough, right? So for that reason, going defense flat stat on your ring might be a good decision to try to keep him alive for you guys. Same thing with the HP. It's pretty low. Want to build enough HP on this champion so that he's not tanking and being targeted for your team. We might accidentally see that in today's video. I'm not sure. Obviously, other than that, guys, crit damage, crit rate, crit damage, and accuracy, all important. Because we need some, durability on this champion, and we need speed, and we need crit rate, and we need crit damage, and we need accuracy. He's not the easiest champion to build in the world, but if you do, I think you'll really be happy with the result. So there he is, Siegehulk, guys. Let's go ahead and show this champion. So where are we using him? Basically anywhere you need a magic affinity debuffer on your team, or just a magic affinity kind of nuker on your team. So we're going to run him as our main debuffer in today's video. Let's go ahead and start with a quick arena battle, and then we'll move into a few dungeons. Some of my favorite dungeons to run this guy on. So let's go ahead and pick a team here. This team looks, no, it looks pretty crappy here. Man, we need to push up the arena. My bad, guys, my bad. Can I find like one pretty formidable team here? I guess this team would be it, right? Okay, so let's put him there instead of Ninja. Let's put him as our, well, you know what? Let's just run a 3-man team and see if he can be both a nuker and a debuffer. Okay, let's try. Let's just see what happens. Can he take down the entire team basically by himself? So he's gonna start autoing into his A2, which is nice. So boom, I mean, there we go, right? We didn't kill Razin. He is a force affinity, but that was pretty easy, man. This guy can be a monster for you guys in the arena, because then he can come back in with his A3, which again, 5.7 multiplier. It hits really hard. It's one of my favorite champions that I've done a guide on. Well, Geomancer in this champion, Siegehulk. The last two epics I've done guides on, I really love both of these champions. Before we go into a more traditional dungeon, I want to go ahead and show you here on a Doom Tower floor. All right, guys, we're going to start in Secret Room 1 on Doom Tower hard. Basically put him with a bunch of other damage dealers to see how he compares in the epic amongst other epic damage dealers. Now keep in mind, compared to Tuok, compared to Skullcrown, he is also bringing those debuffs to the table, right? So he's bringing in some ways more, in some ways less than other champions. I guess he's unique in that way. So again, we have the stuns coming in from Archmage Helmet. That's his A3 there, not hitting very hard. No debuffs on Tyrell there, so don't read too much into that. Here is Skullcrown. She has a stun set on her right now. Wasn't hitting very hard there. We're going to come back in with a, okay, Zargala also on the team, Tuok the Wanderer. So, good champions, right, on this team. So here we go. Let's see what he does with his A1 here. That will be the next. I take it back. Nice to have that turn meter on his A1 as well. So let's just see what he does at the end. That's his A3 there, doing much more damage on that round. Here comes Skullcrown again. Nice nukes coming down. There's his A2. Man, a lot of damage on his A2 there, huh, guys? So wait for this Man-Eater to be dead, and then we'll show the total damage. So check out my man Siegehulk, guys. Tuok, 200k. Skullcrown, 200k. Archmage, 100k. Zargala, 272. Siegehulk, 417,000 damage. I show you that just to show you that, yeah, I mean, all these champions are in pretty good gear as well. It's not like they're any schlubs, right? So let me just go ahead and go to, let's see, Ice Golem next. And let's show him Ice Golem 20, because 25 would be just fine, but it would take us quite a while. So we have Grizzled Jarl on the team, we have Apothecary in the lead, Siegehulk, Soul the Drakes, and Archmage Helmet. So a fairly accessible team. Let's see how he does compared to these champions, how much damage he's putting out there. So again, the A2 of Soul the Drakes comes in, and now there's the Defense Breaker from Siegehulk, still dealing a lot of damage, man. I mean, this guy is... he's fun, right? I mean, he's different enough from other nukers because, again, he does have the self buffs in there. So you don't need to have an increased crit damage on your team, even though we do on this team. You don't need to have an Archmage Helmet. You don't need to have an increased attack on the same team because he's taking care of himself, right? He's a very self-sufficient champion. The downside, again, though, is not a great clan boss champion. His defense is way too low. It's going to be tough to run him in Ultra Nightmare unless you guys just have god tier defense defensive gear. Other than that, though, Faction Wars, Doom Tower, certainly, basically any dungeon, provided you're not going against a Force Affinity matchup, this guy can not only provide two of the most important debuffs, but also buff himself and deal an insane amount of damage. I'm curious to see on this team, too. He's definitely going to be the damage lead. I mean, he is the only attack-based champion on this squad, to be fair, other than Apothecary, who's a support champion. But I'm just curious to see how much he ends up putting out, and if he can stay alive here against the Ice Golem, against these big, heavy-handed counterattacks. We do have Grizzled Jarl on the team. He does have Decrease attack in his kit, which is really helpful to keeping a champion like Siegehulk alive, right? So here we go. And I think we're just going to end the video. We don't need to make this one longer than it needs to be. Hopefully you've enjoyed this guide. But after this, after we see how much damage he puts out, I mean, I could sit here and show you him in every dungeon. But I think you guys get the point, right? A lot of damage, worth investing in. You know, especially if you didn't go for Brogni, but you picked up a couple of the epics, or if you went for Brogni, but you still thought, you know what, the Siegehulk dude, he looks like he might be pretty powerful anyway, so maybe you just kept a dupe, or maybe you kept him, or maybe you pulled him from a shard. I do think he's worth investing in if you're looking for some DPS, man, whether it be the arena, or any dungeon, or Doom Tower, right? Of course, Faction Wars as well. What? You gotta stop. What is this? You guys gotta stop caring about CVC. Uh-oh. David Len telling people we need to stop caring about clan versus clan. He's probably right there, huh? I don't care. I mean, I care. Like, I like to try to help my clan out. I like to do my best, of course. That I'm not sitting there crying in the fetal position in the shower at night if we lose, which we most often do. Even though my clan is the best clan ever. I love the group of players that we have in my clan. So big shout out to all of you guys. So anyway, here we go. Almost done. It's not the fastest team in the world, but again, it's reliable. Look, no one's been close to death, and even if they were close to death, we got SOD on the squad. She'll pick him right back up, right? So there we go. That's his A2 again coming in. Everybody's debuffed. Really nice team here, right? Really nice team. So let's go ahead and show you the damage at the end. I'll be right back. All right, so as expected, guys, Siegehulk doing the main DPS and the decreased defense and the decreased speed. 2 million damage, Syl 846, Archmage 1 million, Grizzled Jarl 1 million, and Apoth 400,000. Guys, we're going to conclude the video here. What do you think of Siegehulk? Are you as high on this dude as I am? Really cool addition to the game. Really badass looking as well. Thank you for watching all the way till the end of the video, guys. And as always, take care, guys.